afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? Oh, come on now. I know it's almost over, but a little bit more energy. How are we doing? All right, all right, all right. We've got a great panel for you today, but first I have a question for you. If you would please, if you're just starting your journey in this, and you haven't actually launched a product on e-commerce or whatever you're maybe doing while you're here to utilize Alibaba.com, you raise your hand if you're brand new and you're just starting, you're trying to figure out what you're doing. It's about half of you or so. And if you can put your hand down, if you've been doing this for a while and you're here just to learn some new tactics and some new ways, can you raise your hand? You've already launched, so it's about half. So it's about 50-50. So that's great. So no matter which one of those buckets you just fell in, we've got some great stuff today, and I think we're going to give you some food for thought, whether you're brand new and some actionable stuff, or whether you're experienced and some things you need to be thinking about. But first, if you don't know who I am, my name is Kevin King. I've been selling e-commerce since 1995. So before Google existed, I was selling stuff online. Been on Amazon in their marketplace since 2001. I have taught over 160,000 people how to sell on Amazon through the Freedom Ticket with Helium 10. I have one of the top-rated podcasts in the Amazon selling space called AMPM Podcast. I have a newsletter called BillionDollarSellers.com that comes out twice a week, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So that's who I am. Tim, if you'd please introduce yourself.
Yeah, so I started selling online in 2015 by accident, and it changed my life. I started going to China and started sourcing products in China, then India and Mexico, several places. I've owned and still own multiple e-commerce businesses and gotten to work with, I guess, over 100,000 probably online sellers and entrepreneurs in some capacity or another. And I'm currently the Chief Community Officer at Carbon6, which is an ecosystem of solutions for online sellers.
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Steve Chou, and I'm the author of the Wall Street Journal best-selling book, The Family First Entrepreneur. I also run a seven-figure e-commerce brand with my wife. Over at Bumblebee Linens, we sell handkerchiefs. I also run a top 25 podcast in all of iTunes in the marketing category, a YouTube channel. I teach e-commerce over at mywifequitherjob.com. And I also run an annual e-commerce conference called the Seller Summit.
Awesome. So all of us run quite a few events. We've done a lot of stuff, so we have a little bit of experience in this space. And I think probably the number one question we always hear, especially from new people, and this is also for people that may be already in business and have launched a bunch of products, is how much money do I need to get started, whether that be primarily in e-commerce. And this is probably the biggest mistake that I see a lot of people make, is they don't understand what they need. Maybe you've saved up $10,000 and that's in your life savings, and that's what you're willing to invest into actually starting your e-commerce journey. And you're going to Alibaba.com and you're like, what should I sell? What should I do? Well, the problem is most people don't realize what they should do with that $10,000. How much of that should you be spending to find a manufacturer to develop a product on Amazon or on eBay or Walmart or wherever you may be going to sell it? And my formula I like to use is divide whatever the amount of money you have by 2.5. So if you have $10,000 to spend, and that's your investment, and this is whether you're brand new or maybe you already have products and you're about to extend your brand, you're about to add a new variation or launch a new product. And the reason for that is because you're going to need to order additional inventory before you get paid for what you originally order. So if you have $10,000, you need to be looking on Alibaba.com for something that you can spend about $4,000 maximum, not just for the price of the items, but landed costs, including all the taxes, the duties, the shipment, and everything. And the reason for that is typically you have to put about 30% down on your first order, and 70% is paid when the order ships. Now, you can negotiate that, and that can vary. But so if you get an order in, you've spent all $10,000 of your money, you don't have money to actually buy the next batch. If you start selling really well, let's say you're doing this on Amazon, and as things start going really well, you haven't been paid by Amazon yet, because there's about a 3 to 4 week lag from the time something is shipped to the time you get paid. So you don't have the money to call up the factory and say, fire up the presses and I need some more, because you don't have the money for the 30% deposit. You got to go to your rich uncle, or you got to go to your credit card or something. And so it's a mistake a lot of people made. You need to have some extra cash, because the worst thing you can do if you're selling on a marketplace like Amazon is to run out of stock. It kills you. You're dead in the water. It's basically like starting over. All your efforts, all your promotion, all you're getting your friends to buy the product, everything that you're doing is for naught. And so you don't want to make that mistake. Plus, you may need something for advertising or to pay some influencers or a variety of other things. So that's the formula that I like to use and whether you're launching a brand new product your first time or you're extending your brand. What about you guys? What's something that's a common mistake that you see that a lot of new sellers make?
I think that people fail to measure twice and cut once when they're trying to launch their business. Now, what I mean by this is we maybe become passionate about a certain product type, or we have an idea and we start running with that too much before actually diving in and researching to see if there is a good market fit, or to see if it's not too competitive to actually make an entrance into this market. I made that mistake several times when I was starting the e-commerce journey. I have on my desk in my office Moscow Mule mugs and mechanical meat tenderizers and all of these things that I got excited about, and I did not do my homework to make sure that there was a good product market fit, that my product was going to be differentiated, and they were disasters. I lost a lot of money. I still think somewhere in one of my storage facilities I've got pallets of Moscow Mule bugs just covered in dust. So the suggestion I always make is do research to the marketplace or the funnel or the platform that you're going to be selling on. If you're selling on Amazon, which we really advocate for and the three of us love to do, go and look at keyword search volume. Make sure people are actually looking for that item. Make sure there's not a ton of competitors you're going to have to compete against. And if your product does not look like it's going to be easy to sell, find another product. Walk away from that one and move on, because there are a lot of hard lessons you can learn in picking the wrong product.
Yeah, on that same note, is when you're using one of these tools, there's a variety of tools out there. Helium 10, one of the last speakers was from PackView. That's a company that owns Helium 10. That's one of the great tools. There's plenty of other ones that are out there to give you this estimations. They'll tell you basically a pretty good estimation of how things are selling. And when you're analyzing these, like Tim just said, you got to look at it and if you're not on the top 3 to 5 results on a keyword, you're probably not going to make very many sales. So your goal should always be to be in that top 5 and top 3 if you can, and you need to see what are those top 3 selling. So if we go back to my example of $10,000 of what you have, and you should only spend $4,000, you're probably going to spend, if you find a supplier on Alibaba.com out of China, you're probably going to be paying a 25% tariff, it's called Trump tariff, the nickname of it, and plus some other duties. So you basically need to find something where you can manufacture this for about $3,000 tops. Maybe $2,500, depends on the shipping and the weight and other factors. So then, how many do I order? Do I order 500? Do I order 1,000? What do I tell my manufacturer on Alibaba.com what the MOQ should be? And the way you determine that is by, can I compete? Like what Tim just said, you're looking on a tool like Helium 10, and if you're trying to be in the top 3 sellers and the top 3 of the results of the keyword, and they're selling on average, I don't know, I'm just making these numbers up, 50 units a day. On average, that's 1,500 units a month. Well, if it's going to take your factory 3 or 4 weeks to make the item, maybe 2 weeks to come by air, or 3 or 4 weeks to come by sea, that means you need about 2 months worth of those to not actually run out of stock. So you need about 3,000 units on your first order. And maybe if these items cost $2 a piece from the factory, you just killed that $4,000 budget, that $2,500 actually, and you can't do that product. You've got to move on to another product. So you've got to keep these things in mind when you're doing it. And what about you, Steve?
So what's interesting about this panel is that these two guys are primarily Amazon, and I'm mostly D2C. All I have to say is Damon John started FUBU for $40, right? With my store, I started with $630. I think in the Amazon game, certainly what you guys are saying is true. I think in today's day and age, what you need to do in terms of your first investment is invest whatever you're comfortable with in creating a product that is defensible and has a strong, unique value proposition. Today, I probably wouldn't go to market unless I had a product that could easily stand out among the competition. And of course, that dollar amount is going to be different depending on whatever you guys decide to sell.
So, and speaking of that, how do you differentiate a product? How do you create that defensive moat? Whether you're doing D2C, like selling it on your own Shopify site, which is a whole other animal. You have to drive that traffic either through influencers or through social media advertising or blogs or another method. But how do you create that differentiation?
So the beauty of D2C is that you can tap into the emotions of your customer. And there's a wide variety of ways to do that you mentioned. How many of you guys have heard of Dr. Squatch? Soap. Okay, so I'm a guy, and I actually just had someone yell at me for using the soap that is actually in the showers in the hotel. Did any guys here just use the soap that's in the showers in the hotel? I do, right? So this Dr. Squatch, what they do is they sell soap for men, but as a dude, I can tell you, I don't care about what soap I'm using. But if you watch the Dr. Squatch commercials, You'll see commercials of like a guy and a girl, and the girl's like, oh my God, you smell so good. I want to jump you right now. Which makes me as a guy think, hey, if I use this soap, does that mean my wife's going to pay more attention to me? Right? And so these are some of the advantages you have in the D2C world that you can tap into the TikToks, in ads, however you want to do it. You have more of an opportunity to tell a story to sell your products, which makes it easier. You don't necessarily even have to stand out as much as long as you have a good story behind your product when it comes to your own website.
But the trick with that, and I agree, there's different ways, there's several different ways you can actually launch a product. And Steve's been very successful doing it D2C, doing it on his own. You also sell on Amazon and other places too, in marketplaces. And you want to do, a lot of times you want to do both. There's some people that start on Amazon and then they branch off because they don't want to have all their eggs in one proverbial basket. And so they branch off to Walmart, or they branch off to a Shopify site or BigCommerce or whatever. And there's other people that do it the opposite way. They actually start and drive their own traffic. But there's a big difference in one of them you have to create the traffic yourself, and the other one, the traffic is already there and you have to leverage the traffic. So can you guys talk about the differences really when it comes to those two ways of thinking, two different ways of completely thinking? Can you talk a little bit about the differences in that?
You want me to start, or you want?
I was just having a conversation with somebody about the difference between relevancy and like spontaneous purchases. And maybe you'll have a little bit of different opinion, but think about a marketplace like Amazon, like Walmart, or even like Alibaba. It's a search engine, right? You go to the website, there's a search box, you type into that search box because you're specifically looking for something. Very few people go to Amazon and type in fun, cool ideas. Like they type in a specific phrase that they're looking for. So on a marketplace, you have, what does Amazon have now, 300 million users just in the US or some number like that. Like they're already there. All I have to do is master the game of providing an opportunity, a product, that matches what people are looking for without a lot of competition. I don't have to bring any traffic. Right now there's some nuances. You're going to do some external traffic for ranking and launching. You're going to run some PPC, things like that. But they're already there. Where a site like, or a platform like TikTok, like people are talking about TikTok marketplace right now. People aren't going to TikTok initially to shop. They're not thinking, oh, I'm going to open my TikTok app to buy something, but they're seeing a product from an influencer or from an ad, and they're seeing some interest in that. They decide they want to check it out, and they might go to the TikTok marketplace or click the Amazon link, right? So when I think about it, I think of where traffic already is, marketplace, and we have to hack that game to be shown first, or a non-marketplace. We're more thinking about spontaneous purchase and then developing brand recognition and brand loyalty. He was talking about Dr. Squatch. Another example I love is Bird Dog Shorts. You familiar with them? Google, like go to YouTube and type Bird Dog Shorts advertisement or commercials. They're hilarious. It's shorts. Shorts have been around forever. It's the most, I don't know, commodity-based clothing almost.
True Classic Tees comes to mind also.
True Classic Tees.
It's
like
just a
that.
t-shirt.
So it's a spontaneous purchase. It develops its own traffic, and then you get brand recognition, you get brand loyalty, and people continue to come back.
So first off, I think everyone should be on Amazon because they own such a large market share. But I will say this, on Amazon you mentioned you do a search and you find the product that you want. But usually when I do a search on Amazon, I don't really look at the brand so much in a lot of cases. If you want to buy something, you just buy whatever's cheap or has the most reviews. The advantage, of course, is that there's a lot of traffic there. But the beauty of D2C is that you can get repeat customers really easily because you can build an email list, an SMS list, and all these different ways to bring people back. And just to give you an example from my store, we're in the wedding industry, so only 12% of our customers are repeat, but that leads up to 36% of our annual revenue every year. So we already have 36% of our revenue in the bag every year because of our lists. So there's pros and cons there for sure. I think we should all be omni-channel, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I have a business in the office supply space with calendars, and I do both. So I'm on Amazon, and about 3 months, every fall season, I'll do close to $1 million with 3 different SKUs selling on Amazon. Landed cost of $1.52, we sell for $20. Crazy, ridiculous margins on that. Thank you. But I also have a customer list of 16,000 people who buy directly from me. So the advantage of that, and some of these people are old school, most of you are too young, you don't know what a check or money order is, but these guys still fill out an envelope, put a stamp on it, and put a check in a money order in an envelope with an order and send it to me. About half the business off these 16,000 is from that. So you don't ignore these old school marketing things. They still exist. There's still people that don't shop on the internet. And these people and half of those guys still do shop on the internet, so I leverage them to launch on Amazon. I don't have to spend, I spend $0 in PPC, I spend $0 in any kind of launch or influencers or anything. All I do is I segment the list and I say, hey, you can buy it directly from me and pay $19.95 plus $9.95 shipping and handling. So I'm charging $30 and I'm making $5 on the shipping and handling too. And a lot of guys do it. Or I can say, just go to Amazon if you're a Prime member, buy it for free, search for this keyword or search for this. I'm instantly launched to the top. Instantly launched to the top, never have to do a dime in advertising, instantly get into frequently bought together with all 3 titles. So if one guy finds one, he finds the other 2. So the advantage of that, like he said, is when your most valuable asset in any business is your customer list. Guard that with your life. Guard your true customer list with your life. There's people in our space that do marketing in the digital marketing space, and they'll do big webinars, and they'll do things like, hey, if you send traffic to the webinar, we're doing some hacks webinar or something. If you send traffic to it, we'll share the list with everybody else. If you send traffic, you participate, we'll share the list, you'll get new customers. It's a great marketing tool, but it dilutes that list, because then everybody's getting pounded with spam and all kinds of crap, and it dilutes the list. So if I ever participate in those, my good buyers, they never get that message never goes out to them. I never give up my good buyers. They stay with me. I use the riffraff and send the riffraff so that I get that. So you want to protect your customer list at all costs, but like what you said, Steve, is how do you build that avatar? How do you build there's a difference between selling products and creating a brand. And you've done a great job with that with your companies, and you've talked about a lot about, can you explain the difference between selling products and creating a brand?
I think really the only way to build a brand is to bring people back over and over and over again until they capitulate. I mean, it's basically how I got my wife, right? I just kept asking her out over and over again, and finally she said, all right, screw it, I'll just go out with you. That's what you got to do with your brand. And in order to bring people back, you have to get their email. So I always try to get their email. Easiest way is just have a pop-up on your site that just says 10% off. You can get a little bit more creative than that. And I always try to get their phone number as well. I know the aspect of getting text messages is still pretty new, but think about it this way. All the restaurants, Alibaba, we're all texting you, and people are starting to get used to that. And especially with text message marketing, what's the first thing you check on your phone? It's your text. And it's just through repeated exposure. You can do a lot of this automated in your email marketing provider, put them on a list that just emails them like every other day or whatnot, which just kind of ingratiates them with your brand. And remember, they might not be ready to buy from you right away, but when they want to buy whatever you sell, they'll think about you first because you've been emailing them or contacting them via text.
And I want to add something here if I can. Sure. I don't want to set this precedence, and it almost sounds like we're doing that if you're selling on Amazon or you're selling in a marketplace, you can't acquire that audience, but if you're selling D2C, that you can. There are ways even on Amazon to acquire that audience. Amazon doesn't give you the information of your customer, but you can do things like, one of the ones I love is offering a warranty for your product. So I've got products with a lifetime warranty, and when they open up their product, there's an insert card with a QR code that goes to a landing page, and on that insert card it just says, sign up here for the lifetime warranty, this is how you register for it, and of course I gather the information, right? There's a bunch of other hacks. Kevin and I could probably spend an hour just talking about that. But the reason that we do that is because, like Kevin said, is that audience it's gold, right? You have to have that. And if you're not acquiring that and then using it in an appropriate way, also to Kevin's point, then I think you're missing the mark.
I'll give you 2 quick examples. Like you said, we could talk for hours on this, but I'll give you 2 quick examples with that calendar business I just said. When you make calendars are like selling milk. They go bad. So come January 1st, even though the whole year is still heavy, nobody wants to pay full price for a calendar. You go to the malls, you see they're 50% off the day after Christmas. And so if I mess up, and depending on what's on that cover, depending on what the beach looks like or what the scene looks like or whatever it is on the cover, that's going to determine how well I sell. So I use tools like PickFu, like we talked about, like was on the stage just earlier. Justin, with PickFu to actually do testing. I do it with my customers, and I actually do test buys. But then what I do is I print in South Korea. I found the supplier on Alibaba.com years ago to do these for me, and then I print in Korea. They get shipped over, and then I can't really go back and print more. If I say I want 10,000 of this calendar, and by November 15th I've already sold 8,000 of them, it's too late to get more. I'm stuck. Or on the flip side of that, if I ordered 10,000 and by the middle of November, I've only sold 1,000 of them, I'm like, geez, I've got a ton left. So what do? Every single calendar that goes out in every single marketplace, this includes Amazon, Walmart, my own site, I'm in calendars.com, the big calendar stores that you see in the malls and stuff, I'm in all those places. There's an insert card in there. It's a little 4x6, looks like a little postcard, and it says, congratulations, you've won a free calendar. But you're gonna get a free random calendar. You don't get to choose what it is. You're gonna get a free random calendar, pay $10 shipping and handling, send me a check and money order, fill out the form here. Half the people send me checks and money orders in the mail. I go to the post office, it's like Christmas, open the little box, how many envelopes are in there? It's like, cool, I got 100 envelopes today, I got 3, it's kind of cool. Or they can go on the website and do it. But why do I don't just give them one for free? It's called a tripwire, or some people call them lead magnets, because if they're willing to spend $10 for the shipping to get a $20 calendar, that's a very good customer to me. And so then, and I'm getting rid of my excess dead inventory. And like, they get to choose it. You might, it even says on the flyer, you might get one that you already have. It's a great gift for a buddy. And then, so then what happens is, every year I get thousands and thousands of new leads, who I then turn around and sell direct to at full margin, versus having to give Amazon or some other tool a cut. And it works like a charm. I also do it with dog treats that I have. It's the same thing, and what I personalize it though, so I'll take the dog treats, and they order some dog treats, I'll be a flyer on this, and congratulations, you get a free sample pack of my other treats. So if I got duck treats, and I got little meat treats, and whatever, I make little tiny sample packs that cost me like $1, and cost like $3 to ship, but I get them to pay $7.95, which qualifies them. That means they actually are willing to pay for it. It's a value to them. And then those people are much more likely to buy than someone that got something for free. And then I send that out to them, and then I also ask them in that form, what's your dog's name and what's your dog's birthday? And they'll tell me, my dog's name is Fido, and I say, what's your breed? And they'll say a dachshund, and then they'll give it the birthday. Then what I do is, about a week before the dog's birthday, I send a postcard, a little postcard in the mail that says, happy birthday, Fido. I remind mom, who I already know their name because they gave me their address, remind Susan, your mom, Susan, that she needs to buy you a birthday present. Here's a 10% off coupon on Amazon or my site or whatever to get the next thing. And you just create this vicious cycle. And you got to be thinking in those terms, not just one-off sales when you're doing that. What is the difference, really?
I just had something to add real quick.
Yeah.
Here's a trick that I do. Just go up to your supplier and say, hey, what are you just trying to get rid of on clearance? What are you just trying to get rid of? And you just buy for pennies on the dollar. And then if you go on bumblebeelinens.com, you'll notice there's a link there. It says free handkerchief, because this is the excess that the manufacturer is giving me. And then they click on it, they have to provide their phone number, and then they get a free handkerchief. Similar method to what you just described.
My big takeaway is I'm a bad dog dad because I don't know my dog's birthday.
That's my site, bumblebeelinens.com. Yeah.
So what are the markets? So we're talking about marketplaces. There's probably 3 or 4 or 5 key ones that you should be thinking about. So if you're out there and you're thinking, everybody knows Amazon, that's kind of an obvious one. And sometimes you got to think of these marketplaces as shopping cart of choice. You can either launch and become what some people call an Amazon business, which is not necessarily bad. Some people poo-poo that and say you have all your eggs in one basket. But depending on your skill set and what you can do, that may be all the eggs you have. You may not be very good at driving traffic to Shopify or doing being successful like Steve has. But besides Amazon, what would you guys say are the next 3 that people should be looking at? Amazon and your own site. So D2C and Amazon would be 2. What's next? TikTok, Walmart? What would you say would be the next things that you should be focusing on?
I can speak on Walmart a little bit. Walmart is the second largest marketplace in at least North America, right? And Walmart, when they purchased Jet.com back in, was it 2015, 16, something like that. That was going to be their entrance into the kind of global D2C marketplace space. It didn't go very well. Like Walmart has struggled a little bit to catch up and offer the same features that a marketplace like Amazon does. But I think that Walmart's a sleeper. If you look at the amount of traffic, buyers coming into Walmart.com versus Amazon, it's a substantial amount, but there's substantially less sellers, right? Amazon.com has, don't quote me on this, but like 3 million third-party sellers, where Walmart is barely hitting 200,000 sellers right now. But Walmart, to their website, has about 60% the same daily traffic that Amazon.com does, right? So the ratio between seller and buyer is significantly in our favor. And if you look at the way Walmart is partnering with other traffic sources like Google, like I did a case study 6 months ago where I went to Amazon and I typed in men's underwear. All right, I just typed in men's underwear, and the first result was Hanes brand men's underwear. So I said, okay, Amazon loves Hanes men's underwear, great. And I went over to Google and I typed in Hanes men's underwear, thinking, all right, the first result's got to be an Amazon listing. Google Shopping popped up with 30 results. 17 out of 30 results were Walmart.com listings. So men's underwear, and I found Hanes. I typed in Hanes men's underwear, thinking surely I've spiked the system, it's got to show up Google. And Walmart was 17 out of the top 30 Google Shopping listings, right? So Walmart is making a big impact through these partnerships. They're bringing a lot of traffic. Second largest marketplace for sure. I'm sure you're going to say that another great option is Shopify.
Actually, my opinion is a little different because some products just work better on Amazon, and some products just work better on your store. And I don't want to say rare, but sometimes it's hard to be on both and do it well, right? I would say that if you are tapped out on Amazon, meaning you feel like you've maxed it out, give Walmart a try. There's some SKUs that are just way too competitive on Amazon, like you mentioned, that'll do well on Walmart. And if you want like an incremental maybe 5 to, I don't know, 10 or 12%, just try throwing those up on Walmart. Walmart is investing a lot of money in their marketplace right now, like you mentioned.
Is it better to actually, if you tapped out on, and I agree with you, if you're going to go the Amazon route, if that's going to be your choice first, focus on that and max it out before you start worrying about going somewhere else. But then should you actually go to Walmart next, or should you go to Amazon Canada, where the systems are basically the same, you already understand it, or should you go to Amazon UK or Germany or Japan? Or what should you be doing when it comes to that?
I would say the North Americas is the obvious choice, right? I would actually put Walmart after Amazon, because you're already familiar with the ecosystem. Going to a new platform is a lot of work. You got to learn a whole new, skill set. So I'm not sure about going to Europe because like the VAT tax, maybe you guys have better experience.
The answer is kind of like asking how long is a piece of string, right? Like every single product is different. I will also say this, you can combine the two. Like we're almost maybe doing all of you a disservice by delineating between Amazon or other choices, or Shopify or other choices. You can do both. One thing that we're seeing that works on Amazon really well is external traffic. So we're combining Google traffic and running traffic through tools like PixelMe to our Amazon listings, or using influencer marketing, right? We're getting influencers on Instagram or TikTok driving traffic to our Amazon listing where maybe we're not actually tapped out, like maybe just the internal algorithm is so hard to compete with inside of Amazon that we can combine a Shopify website or a landing page that has a blog that drives traffic to Amazon to create organic ranking on Amazon. And then your Amazon product has an insert card that goes to the warranty page, or download this free PDF on how to throw your dog a birthday party, right, that goes to a Shopify site. So it might not be as cut and dry as which place is better, because you can actually combine all of them into a giant networking ecosystem.
You said influencers there. There's a lot of people out here. Some of these people are influencers, I've heard, and then some of them are like, yeah, I've emailed people and they just ignore me. I've emailed like 50 people, or I did something, I sold like one thing or two things. You've got some really cool tricks on how to actually get influencers to participate and do stuff. Can you share something actionable that they can do, where you know that little bonus and the things you were doing?
For all of you that are large influencers, I'm going to offend you. Large influencers are hard to work with. But what is true about the influencer market that I've seen is there are millions and millions of nano and micro influencers that are not getting a lot of love, they're not getting a lot of attention, and they may already be exceptional product sellers and don't even realize that they are, right? I follow a lot of these micro influencers with a really relevant audience. If I have a dog treat and I ask Kim Kardashian to sell that, most of her audience is not gonna immediately buy a dog treat, right? Like it's a far stretch. But if I go out and work with 10 Facebook group owners that specify specifically in dog breeds, and they all have 20,000 followers in each Facebook group, and they're not getting a lot of love, well, we know that every single person in those Facebook groups love dogs, right? It's a higher relevancy audience. So what I started doing a couple years ago, which Kevin's talking about, is I started finding ways to find people that are already influencers, specifically Amazon associate sellers, right? Amazon associate sellers.
How do you do that? You look for a certain...
Yeah. I'll get to that. I'm coming, Kevin. I'm coming, Kevin. They are usually making 1% to 3% as an Amazon associate seller, right? As an influencer. and it's not very much money. But the way that they sell is they use a link that is tracked through Amazon, and it's the Amazon Associates link that has a unique slug in it, and that slug is amzn.to. So if you go to an Instagram influencer that says, hey, click the link below to buy this product on Amazon, that link will have amzn.to in it. Well, a search engine indexes results based on the parameters of that search, right? So what Kevin's talking about is I can go to YouTube and I can type in the search bar of YouTube, amzn.to, dog treats. And every single result that pops up in my YouTube feed will be people that are talking about dog treats that are also influencers using the Amazon Associates link. Every single one of them. And then I reach out to them and I say, hey, let's work out a better deal. Instead of you getting 1% on these dog treats for your videos, and your videos are getting a ton of searches, like, let's work a side deal. And typically, these folks have never even thought that they could be a paid influencer. A lot of times it's as simple as me sending them a free product, and they throw that up on their next video that gets 10,000 views of a very specific niche audience.
What about you, Steve? What are you doing to drive? I mean, you do a lot of customization and stuff too.
We
and
do a lot of
large bulk
customization.
kind of orders, and how are you doing it?
So I just want to talk about, are we still talking about the influencer side right now? Or what was the question?
How are you driving traffic to your?
Oh, how do I drive traffic? Okay, it's all through content. So we rank for practically every handkerchief search term on Google. We have videos, we do tutorials. Back when forums were really popular. Today, I guess Facebook groups and social media have really taken that over. But early on, you don't have to spend a lot of money on it if you don't.
And I mean, one of the important things, we're running out of time here, but one of the more important things I want to close on is being an entrepreneur, you can get caught in the weeds a lot and be working crazy hours. A lot of times you quit a 40-hour job to work 80 hours. But how do you balance that? I mean, we've all been there, and you got to put in the time. But I do this business, selling e-commerce, because I want freedom. I want to be able to do what I want when I want to do it. And sometimes I got to buckle down and work crazy hours, but then I can take 2 weeks off and do whatever I want. And you just came up with a book on that, and talking about balancing that real life with entrepreneurship. And how do you do that?
So some of my principles are a little controversial, but I always prefer robots over humans. We just happen to be living in the best age of all right now with AI. And I've been able to replace a lot of my humans who were writing content for me with AI. Anytime you can automate a process, anytime that you're doing something over and over again, you can probably write a piece of code to do that. And if you can't write code, you can probably find someone on Upwork or Fiverr to do it for you. I always advocate figuring out how to do everything yourself first before you outsource. And there's a bunch of workers that you can hire in different countries where the cost of labor is significantly cheaper to accomplish a lot of these tasks and take them off your plate. What do you guys do?
I just work 80 hours a week. But I will say that the entrepreneurship thing is tough. It takes a lot of work, but I tell myself that I'd much rather work 80 hours for myself than 40 hours a week for somebody else.
I agree.
And I just tell myself if I do this right, then I'm going to be able to retire a lot early and I'll catch that time up later.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have. The clock has run out. I appreciate this. Hopefully this has been useful. We could do this for hours. But thanks for everybody's attention, and have a great rest of the show.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Lost my mic.